Third and 29. Jones steps up, tries to avoid it, buys some time. Jones uncorks, deep ball, touchdown on the ricochet. Purdy back to throw, pressure coming, steps away, looking to run, and he walks it in for the touchdown. Throw on 4th and 18. He's given time. He wants Jefferson. Justin Jefferson. Jacobs with running room right up the middle. Jacobs is on his way. The Raiders are going to win this game. Intercepted Trayvon Diggs. Guess who? To McCaffrey right up the middle, and it's stiff arm. McCaffrey for 6. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Extra Point. I'm Lauro Antonio, along with Isaiah Leung, on a beautiful night here in California. Well, week 3 already in the books. Well, we have a lot to be talking about here when it comes to recapping these games. Isaiah, how's it going tonight?
Lauro, it's going well, man. You're absolutely right. It is a terrific night in California, man. Beautiful weather right now. That's why, I'm outside on a walk. But, man, we didn't do a show last week. I've missed you for couple of weeks now, so it's great to be back to do a show, man. And we have a lot of football going on, man. A lot of great games happen this weekend, both in college and in the professional level. So I can't wait to talk about it. A lot of surprising results. Broncos getting blown out 70-20, for goodness sakes. The Ravens beating the Colts. We've got a lot of stuff to get into, and we got a great week 4 slate of games coming up, and man, oh man, I cannot believe it's already week 4 of the NFL season.
Absolutely. It is going to be a great week 4 here. But anyways, let's talk about week 3. But let's start with talking about the Patriots and Jets game. The Patriots beat them 15-10. Randall Cobb nearly won the game for the Jets in that contest. But at the same time, Isaiah, there's been a lot of chatter about Zach Wilson, Robert Saleh. Isaiah, let's debate this. If the Jets keep up the way they're playing right now, do you think Robert Saleh is going to be the first head coach fired?
I do, sadly. Because last year I thought he was going to be fired. Because Christopher or Woody Johnson, he's not a patient owner. And last year there were reports that Woody Johnson was very upset at the Jets' collapse down the stretch. I believe they started 6-2, and they ended up finishing the season 7-10. So he was very upset, and I thought that Robert Saleh, there were whispers that he was going to be fired last year. But this year they kept him. They brought in Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, he tore his Achilles 4 plays into the season. But the thing is, with Robert Saleh, it's his stubbornness. Robert Saleh does not want to move off of Zach Wilson, even though, sadly, I think Zach Wilson needs a change of scenery, and he just isn't effective right now with the New York Jets because he's in that Sam Darnold situation from a couple of years back where he just seems like he's not confident. The confidence is not there. He's seeing ghosts all the time. He doesn't know where to go with the football. It's just really bad, and they just cannot move the football, which is tiring out the defense. The offensive playmakers are getting very, very tired of not getting the football, not being successful. If Robert Saleh continues to ride the Zach Wilson bandwagon and he doesn't make a quarterback change sooner than rather than later, then I think that he will be fired, because if at that point I could see the New York Jets with their tough schedule, I could really see the Jets sitting halfway through the season like 1-7 and 1-8, and then your season's basically doomed at that point. And there's going to be a lot of ugliness, Loro, that is going to fester if this continues. I mean, the ugliness has already started. You already see Michael Carter was yelling at the Jets running backs coach on Sunday on the sideline. Garrett Wilson was yelling at Zach Wilson. They were both getting into it. This is just the start, and I just think that the Jets season, sadly, is now teetering on the brink of total disaster.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right about that, Isaiah. I mean, we're going to see how they do against Kansas City. But another game we got to talk about is the Steelers and the Raiders. I'll tell you, I mean, this was not a good game for the Raiders, although they tried to come back. But Jimmy Garoppolo is in concussion protocol. Josh McDaniels is also under a lot of pressure here.
He is. And this game for me, I don't understand. A lot of people are going to talk about the Raiders defense. They're going to talk about, McDaniels' miscue, and obviously so. And I agree with them. Like, if you're Josh McDaniels, what are you doing kicking a field goal on 4th and 4 from the Pittsburgh's 13-yard line with 2 minutes and 22 seconds left in the game? You have 2 timeouts left, plus you got the 2-minute warning. Like, what are you doing, man? You're down by 8. You're going to need a touchdown anyways. If you kick a field goal, why not go for it? That was just an utter stupid decision by Josh McDaniels and made no sense whatsoever. I've tried to think about possible ways of what Josh McDaniels was thinking. I still can't even think about why he made that move. It just makes no sense whatsoever for Josh McDaniels to make that move, Loro. I just think that it's a decision that it just shows you that Josh McDaniels should not be a head coach in the NFL. It just makes absolutely no sense. And for the Raiders, they're sitting here 1-2 right now. They got a tough schedule down the upcoming with the Chargers and other teams. Jimmy Garoppolo, who knows if he's going to play this weekend. If he doesn't play, then they're probably going to have to start Brian Hoyer at quarterback, or Aiden O'Connell, the rookie. So yeah, the Raiders are kind of like the Jets. Their season is kind of, on the brink of disaster as well. And if, the Raiders start off really bad, I could see Josh McDaniels being another guy being gone. But I mean, this game honestly was a really good game till the end, until Josh McDaniels made that really stupid decision just to not go for it. And it just absolutely does not make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense at all with McDaniels here. But we got to talk about now one of the Monday night games. I mean, Matthew Stafford and the Rams looked like they got lost a little bit. I mean, it was a close contest throughout. Joe Burrow even played through a calf injury. I mean, I thought he did great. I mean, Jamar Chase had a career day.
Yeah, this game was kind of like a little boring. The Rams, I thought that were not really doing good when it comes to play calling and moving the football. The Cincinnati Bengals, they turned it up late in that game, in the second half. They really managed to pour it on. The Rams, the defense played great in that first half. The defense, however, got tired because the Rams just couldn't move the football, and that was partly because the Rams' offensive line just could not move the football. They could not protect Matthew Stafford. That's why Matthew Stafford was getting just hit and sacked a whole bunch in this football game. The Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow, he did not look 100%, but he looked very good down the stretch. And it looked like that, he finally warmed up and he finally found his rhythm, especially late in that game. And I think that when you look at the Cincinnati Bengals, obviously I have concerns, Floro, about Joe Burrow moving forward because I have a massive fear that that calf is going to turn into a much more significant, unfortunate injury. That's why I thought the Bengals should not have played him and just rested him. But I think if you're the Bengals, what you need to do moving forward now is just get the ball out quick. You don't want Burrow to get any extra hits on his body. And also just run the football because right now Burrow's calf obviously does not look 100%. He cannot move in and out of the pocket. You could clearly see that he's like a statue out there in the pocket, and you don't want him to get hit and obviously risk injuring that calf and making that calf an even more significant injury. So I think for the Bengals, it was a great game for them. Great win, great first win, great to get on that the winners board. But there is major concern about Burrow moving forward. And as far as the Rams is concerned, for the Rams, what the Rams honestly just got to do is they got to protect Matthew Stafford because we've seen if you protect Stafford and you give him time to throw the football, Matthew Stafford's one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL.
Next up, now we got to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Bucs started out 2-0, but it's starting to feel like that Tampa Bay is starting to run out of luck after the Eagles got this victory here.
It does. For the Buccaneers, it feels like Baker Mayfield is finally getting exposed. They could not move the football at all in this football game until very late in this contest. The Tampa Bay offensive line did not do a good job of protecting Jalen Carter, was wrecking havoc all day long. One of my former Georgia Bulldogs, he was doing fantastic, just disrupting, wrecking havoc all game long in this football game. And then you look at what really I think that changed the momentum of the contest was the Eagles turned the football over a couple of times, and the Buccaneers just could not capitalize on the Philadelphia Eagles mistakes. And that's honestly what's really caused it because against this Eagles team who doesn't look that great to start the season, you got to capitalize on the mistakes that they make. And they gave you the football 3 times. And for you to not even get any points off those turnovers is absolutely ridiculous, man. And you gotta capitalize on those turnovers because if you don't, then the Eagles obviously they are a very talented team that they're gonna run you over, and that's what they ended up doing.
We're having trouble hearing Isaiah here, so Isaiah, can you go ahead and what you need to say here?
Yeah, the Buccaneers' luck is just running out, and sadly, if you're Todd Bowles, if you're the Buccaneers, I honestly don't know what you do moving forward because you don't have a good quarterback. That's what we were saying. You got to start Kyle Trask to begin this season because Kyle Trask just made a lot of sense because we know what Baker Mayfield is, and he's just a boring quarterback.
Now, Isaiah, before we get into our week 2 picks, week 4 picks, we got to talk about your Niners blowing out the New York Giants. He left. He just left right now. We lost him for technical difficulties. So we're going to give him a couple minutes. We're going to talk about the Niners and the Giants game. So, anyways, my thoughts on that game, I didn't even watch that game because it was a blowout in that sense. So, just a matter of moments, we will get Isaiah back. I mean, he was kicked out due to technical issues. So, top week 4 games to talk about is when the New England Patriots take on the Dallas Cowboys, along with so when Isaiah gets on, we will talk to him about the Cowboys and the Giants and 49ers game. So stop the camera. So let's read some comments here. Edward Lee said the NFL preseason has ended. I know we all get that, and then the football season. The football season is a season strongly. Don't understand that. And then Isaiah says he will be right back. He is dealing with technical issues. So we will get him on here as soon as possible. So the games that he and I will pick for week 4 will be pretty much every single game. I mean, Thursday Night Football, you got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Detroit Lions. And now we get Isaiah back. So now that you're back on, Isaiah, so I want to ask you, what were your thoughts on the Niners and Giants Thursday night game?
This game told me that I don't think it's an unrealistic possibility, low roll, that the Niners can go 17-0. And you might think I'm absolutely crazy for saying that, but when I look at everything that's going on, everything that's happening both with the Niners and off the field, the 49ers just look like the best team in the NFL. And quite frankly, a lot of stuff that's happening off the field for the Niners regarding other teams, it's just falling in the Niners' favor. Like Trayvon Diggs sadly tearing his ACL in practice. The Nick Chubb injury. Like there's a lot of injuries that are happening to other teams that are huge for us. Other teams that you expect to be good, they're underperforming, like the Jaguars, and the Ravens just lost to the Colts, and I mean the Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that's really gone wrong for a lot of these teams that we're going to play moving forward. But for SF, and I don't want to jinx it, but it's just constant. The same great results, same great play, defense dominating Purdy, not turning the football over, game managing like crazy, looking really good. Ayuk, Debo, George Kittle showing out every game. McCaffrey dominating as well, running the football. I mean, it's just a complete team effort, offense, defense, special teams, every single week for the Niners. And they just haven't shown any signs of slippage so far. And I hope it continues this week against the Cardinals. But when I look at it, I mean, the Niners just look like the best team in football, and I honestly would not be shocked if San Francisco goes 17-0 this season.
That's probably not going to happen because I think they're going to lose to some from there on out. But before we get into our Week 4 picks, Isaiah, we got to talk about DeMeco Ryans getting his first win as the head coach of the Houston Texans. I mean, no one thought they would come into Duval County and beat Jacksonville the way they did. I mean, it tells me that something that the Jags still have struggles against the Houston Texans. That's the only team they have trouble with, but they seem to not have trouble against teams like Indy or Tennessee.
Yeah, for some reason, the Texans just own the Jags. Like, I don't know why, I don't know what it's about, but the Texans just for some reason just always own the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Loro, in the NFL and all my years following the NFL, I've kind of gotten used to the fact that just there's certain teams that just own certain teams. Like, for example, for the longest period of time, the Arizona Cardinals always owned the San Francisco 49ers, regardless of how good they were or how bad they were. They just owned us all the time. And, it's the same situation here where you have the Jacksonville Jaguars just owning the Texans, my apologies, just owning the Jaguars. And I just think that, it's crazy how football works. But good for DeMeco Ryan. CJ Stroud looked very, very good in this game. I think he threw for over 300 yards. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags struggles. Those are a big concern because it's now 2 games in a row that you failed to move the football down the stretch with any sign of dominance, and that's a big worrisome for the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, I hope he's not going through another slump like he did in his rookie year, but it is concerning for the Jags. The defense giving up a lot of points to the Texans. That's a major concern. So the Jags they got to get their act together because a lot of us thought they were going to be one of the better teams in the NFL this season, and they have definitely underperformed.
I think Jacksonville will be fine. I think Jacksonville will be fine. I think they have the Falcons coming up. We'll talk about that game. So, anyways, week 4 is now. So let's talk about our week 4 games. Tomorrow night, the Green Bay Packers will host the Detroit Lions. Isaiah, the Lions looked really good in their last game against Atlanta. And then Green Bay is coming off a come-from-behind win over the New Orleans Saints. We'll get to the Derek Carr story in a little bit, Isaiah. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers in this one just because they always play the Lions pretty good at Lambeau Field. And Lambeau Field's a tough place to play. And the Packers, they look like they're the Packers of old. Now that Jordan Love is there, this is a fresh start for them.
I agree, Loro. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers as well. Lambeau is a very tough place to play. The Packers, I've been very, very impressed with them. I've been impressed with Jordan Love. This kid looks like a star. He's played very good football this season. He hasn't turned the football over a lot, which is great to see. And the thing with the Lions is, the Lions, they need a lead because they cannot play from behind because if you rely on Jared Goff to throw the football like 40 to 50 times, there's no way that they're going to win. So I think this is going to be a back and forth contest. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think Jordan Love will shine in this game. I think Jared Goff will shine as well. But it's going to come down to the final couple possessions. And I got the Green Bay Packers getting 1 or 2 massive stops down the stretch to end up winning this game for the Cheeseheads.
Next up, Wake. Sorry, guys, putting the mic on mute here. So next up here on our docket, the Jacksonville Jaguars are taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Jacksonville off to a rough 1-2 start, but I really think things will pick up in Duval County. This is a home game for them in London. I'm going to go the Jags, but I don't think it's going to be – I think it's going to be a close game because both the Jags and Falcons offenses are very explosive. And I think the Jags defense is probably going to have a hard time with stopping that offense here.
Wait, this game is in London, Laurel?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Jacksonville Jaguars because I think that you're right. It's gonna be a fun game. It's gonna be 2 teams that are good at running the football. But I think it comes down to quarterback play and give me Trevor Lawrence over Desmond Ridder all day, every day. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to shine. I think he's going to bounce back. I don't really think you're going to see much defense in this game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but it's going to come down to quarterback play and give me Trevor Lawrence over Desmond Ridder.
Isaiah left here, so now we're gonna get him back now. So Isaiah, I was asking you, Toy Story is on this cast. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's funny. I think it's cool to see. I think that that's great for us, the viewers. Having a game in London with them as the cast. I think it's great, and I think it's great for the fans. It's great for the kids, and I cannot wait to watch this game and watch that cast.
Next up, we're going to talk about the Miami Dolphins taking on the Buffalo Bills. 3-0 versus 2-1. I mean, the Buffalo Bills beat teams that they should have, but this is a game where it's going to be down to the wire and all that, Isaiah. But I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins by 3, and I think they beat Buffalo in their house. But I really think the AFC East is going to be decided upon the Week 18 game when the Bills go down to Miami.
This is going to be the game of the weekend, Loro. I think that this game, Josh Allen and the high-powered Bills offense versus Tua Tagovailoa and the high-powered Dolphins offense. I mean, this is going to be a really good game. It's going to be a game where it's going to be back and forth, and I cannot wait to watch this game on Sunday afternoon, man. It's going to be very high scoring, and it's just going to come down to the last possession. This is tough. Give me Miami. I don't think that the Bills can handle the speed of the Dolphins, and I think that's what's going to end up hurting them in this game.
Well, Isaiah, I mean, I hope Steven is listening to us. So the Minnesota Vikings visit the Carolina Panthers. So I think you and I will be on the same page here. I mean, assuming Bryce Young comes back from his ankle injury, I'm going to pick the Carolina Panthers because I think that the Panthers are off to a pretty rough start, but I really think things will pick up in Carolina. I mean, they scored 20 points on Seattle, even though they lost. But I think that when Bryce Young comes back, I think you're going to see a much better offense for the Carolina Panthers. I mean, they're starting out slow, but I think things will pick up. Minnesota, I think, will probably go 0-4 here.
I totally agree. Give me the Carolina Panthers. I got the Vikings dropping to 0-4. This is Adam Thielen's revenge game. He's going back where he's playing his former team. I expected to have a big day, try to prove his former team wrong. I think Bryce Young is going to play. I think that the Vikings, they always struggle with mobile quarterbacks. So I think that Bryce Young, with his legs, with his arm, he's going to have a good day in his return. And the Vikings defense is not really that good. They couldn't get after Justin Herbert last week against the Panthers, who don't really have that great of an offensive line. Other teams have been getting after Bryce Young, but I don't think the Vikings will be able to get after him because of their lack of pass rush. And I think that it's going to be a close game, but it's in Carolina. Minnesota's looking ahead to next week when they play the Kansas City Chiefs. Give me the Carolina Panthers. I think Minnesota starts 0-4.
Next up, we're going to talk about the Denver Broncos. They'll take on the Chicago Bears. I mean, we have a lot to discuss about the Chicago Bears. Denver off to an 0-3 start. They're coming off a really bad loss to the Miami Dolphins. Isaiah, you said Sean Payton is going to make a difference on the Denver Broncos. I mean, I'm pretty patient with them because I think the Denver Broncos are going to get better as time goes on. I mean, there's no reason to panic why they're 0-3 right now.
I agree with that. That's why I think that out of all the 0-3 teams, I got the most confident in the Denver Broncos to turn their season around. I got, they have Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has played a lot better this season. Sean Payton has, dialed up some really creative offensive plays. They have ran the football. Is the defense. The defense has struggled.
Broncos and Bears. So,
you have me?
Isaiah?
You guys have me?
Go ahead with what you're saying about the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, the Broncos, I have a lot of confidence in them to turn the season around. Sean Payton has really dialed up some creative offensive plays this season. It's not the offense's fault. It's the defense's fault. The defense has been awful this season. And Loro, I think we discussed this on Sports Weekly a while back when Denver was deciding between Rex Ryan and Vance Joseph for the defensive coordinator position. And we both said, like, the Broncos made a massive mistake hiring Vance Joseph to be their defensive coordinator because Arizona's defense under Vance Joseph was always garbage. And you bring him in when you could have gotten Rex Ryan, who has been a very good defensive coordinator in his career. Like, it just made no sense. And now you're seeing it. You know, Denver's defense is awful. They're ranked, I believe, 31st in defense. They've given up a lot of points this season, a lot of yards. It's their defense. They got to get their defense fixed if they want to win games, and they've been close several times. So if they can get that defense fixed, I think Denver can definitely turn their season around. But it's going to be about Vance Joseph. He needs to go. When you give up 70 points, 700 yards of total offense, dude, you got to be fired. Like, that's just so unacceptable if you're the Denver Broncos.
Will still make a playoff run. I mean, Isaiah, I think Denver will still make a playoff run if they get their defense fixed. But Vance Joseph, from the get-go, I don't think he's the right person to be the defensive coordinator. I mean, why would you bring back a former head coach that has ties to that organization? And now Sean Payton, I think that was the only one bad choice for Sean Payton as the head coach of the Denver Broncos, was bringing Vance Joseph as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I never liked that move from the beginning. I always thought that it was an awful move. I don't know why you bring in a guy who, former head coach, he failed in Denver. His defenses have never been that great. It just made absolutely no sense whatsoever for the Denver Broncos. I don't know why they made that move to begin with. Vance Joseph needs to go. I'm surprised he still has a job after giving up 70 points and 700 plus yards of total offense in that game against the Miami Dolphins. I just don't get it. And the game before, Laurel, they gave up 35 to the Washington Commanders, led by Sam Howell. And Sam Howell and the Commanders the following week only scored 3 points against the Buffalo Bills. So Vance Joseph, you know, if he doesn't turn things around, if he gives up a lot of points and yards to Justin Fields and that pathetic Bears offense, then he needs to go for sure, because the defense will never get fixed under Vance Joseph if he ends up giving up a lot of points and yards to Justin Fields.
Now we got to talk about the Chicago Bears. I mean, this has been a regression season for Justin Fields. Justin Fields has not lived up to his hype in year 3. It looks like the Chicago Bears are tanking for Caleb Williams. And I think that Alan Williams stepping down kind of made a huge mess for the Chicago Bears. And Matt Eberflus's seat, I think, is getting warmer and warmer as the game goes on. So anyways, when we're going to bring back Isaiah here, I mean, we are sorry that we are dealing with all those technical difficulties and all that. So if you can hear me, Isaiah, I'm going to ask you here about the Chicago Bears and their tumultuous season is still continuing. We thought we were going to see a big leap in Justin Fields, but it looks like Chicago is tanking for Caleb Williams. And their defense is not the defense that their defense is just atrocious under Matt Eberflus. I really think there's got to be a change in the Chicago Bears system, especially firing Eberflus and Poles. And we don't know when it's going to happen. My mind tells me both Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus are probably going to be gone after this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think both guys are going to be gone. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time until these guys are gone. I mean, Matt Eberflus, Laurel, I don't know if you thought he was a great hire to begin with. I certainly didn't think he was a great hire to begin with. I thought he should have never been hired to begin with. I thought that why would you hire a defensive-minded coach to pair with Justin Fields, when a lot of these teams that have young quarterbacks are hiring young up and coming offensive coaches to develop their quarterbacks. It just made no sense whatsoever. There needs to be a change in Chicago. You're right. I think the Bears are tanking for Caleb Williams. Justin Fields looks like Zach Wilson. He just looks lost right now on the football field. Luke Getsy might be fired soon, to be honest. Matt Eberflus probably is going to be gone. I don't know about Ryan Poles. I don't know, Lolo. Do you think Ryan Poles will be fired? I don't know if they'll do it. I think the head coach and the offensive coordinator definitely will be fired soon, because I don't think the Bears will get another win until probably mid-season.
To be honest with you, Isaiah, I'm going to be very harsh. They're probably going to go 0-17 by the way it looks. I mean, I think Ryan Poles is safe because I don't really think it's his fault. I really think it's more the fault of Matt Eberflus.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more of the fault of Matt Eberflus. And, the Bears, they just continue to make bad head coaching hires after bad head coaching hires after bad head coaching hires. And, I don't know, man. The Bears, they just never learn, Laurel. They just never learn.
You're absolutely right about that. The Bears just never learn from their mistakes. So, in regards to this game, I have a good feeling that Denver's going to win, but I'm not going to give the Bears a chance just because I think this is a get-right game for Vance Joseph, and I think that the Chicago Bears are probably going to get shut out or only be held to 3 points here. I'm not being very generous with them.
Give me the Denver Broncos. I think they have the better offense. They're going to run rough sod all over Chicago's pathetic defense. I don't buy into the Chicago Bears defense getting a stop against this Denver Broncos offense. Denver's going to play mad because they just gave up 70 points. They got flat out embarrassed against the Miami Dolphins last week. And I think they're going to come back with a vengeance. And that defense, they need to hold this Bears team to under 17 points, because if they don't do that, then Vance Joseph, obviously he needs to be fired because he's an absolutely horrific defensive coordinator. I think that the Denver Broncos, they need to move in a different direction if they can't show any progress of this defense improving this week. So give me Denver. I think Denver comes in, and I think the Chicago Bears.
Well, now we talk about the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the Ravens are 2-1. I mean, they came off a loss that they should have not had lost to, and that was the Indianapolis Colts with Gardner Minshew. And the Cleveland Browns are playing really good. I mean, this could decide second or third place in the AFC North in this game. So I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens because I just think they have the Browns number for some reason. And I think their last game back on Christmas Day will really decide that.
Yeah, I'm very surprised about the Browns. I thought the Browns were going to struggle, and they were going to, struggle all season. But credit to Deshaun Watson and the Browns. They played some really good football this season. For me, is this in Baltimore, Laurel, or is it in Cleveland? Give me, oh, this is tough. I'm going to go with the Browns. There's something about the Ravens that just don't look right thus far. They're losing to teams that they're not supposed to lose to. Their offense has struggled this season. Give me the Browns. I think the Browns are playing good football. They're running the ball really good right now with Jerome Ford and Deshaun Watson. But it's going to be a defensive battle between these two teams, and I think it's going to come down to the wire. Give me Cleveland.
Next up, we talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Houston Texans. I mean, DeMeco Ryans getting his first win as the Houston Texans head coach. I kind of feel like he's due to get his first home win in Houston, so I'm going to roll with the Houston Texans here.
You know what? I'm gonna go with you. I think that D'Amico Ryan's that home crowd is gonna be energized. D'Amico Ryan's, I think he gets his first home win here. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line, they're not good at blocking. The Texans defensive line, led by your guy Will Anderson from Alabama, he's definitely been, a wrecking ball this entire season so far. And I think that C.J. Stroud's brilliance will continue in this game against the Steelers defense. It's going to be a tough task, but I think that um, C.J. Stroud's brilliance will definitely continue. Give me Houston to win this game.
Next up, we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New Orleans Saints. I mean, Derek Carr will probably not play due to a shoulder injury, although luckily it wasn't as bad as what people think. Jameis Winston will be getting the start against his former team. I think the New Orleans Saints will still get the win. I mean, Tampa's luck is starting to run out.
This is going to be a closer game than I think a lot of people are expecting. Because divisional games are always very, very close. But for me, oh my gosh, give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think Jameis Winston threw the late interception to give the Bucs the win. He's always turnover prone. They know him very well. They're going to be able to scheme up to have success against him defensively. So give me the Bucs. I think the Bucs win it, but it's going to be a close game. I think that Baker Mayfield and Jameis Winston will throw a couple of interceptions. It's going to be a very ugly game, Laurel, with a lot of interceptions, a lot of turnovers. But give me the Bucs to end up winning this game with a late stop and a late turnover to give them the win.
We are going to. So,
what was that?
Were you saying the Saints?
No, give me the Bucs.
All right. Next up, our next game we're talking about here is the. Hold on, why my phone is loading up on games here? I don't know, Isaiah, if you have that. So, our next game to talk about here, we're going to talk about the Washington Commanders taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, Philadelphia Eagles are at home. I mean, they're 3-0 for a reason. Washington got blown out by Buffalo. I'm going to go with the Eagles, but I think the Eagles are going to blow out Washington.
Laurel, give me the Commanders, actually. I think this is going to be a closer game than a lot of people are predicting. I think Eric Bieniemy and this offense gets back on track against this Philadelphia Eagles defense. They got exposed last week. But the Eagles, their biggest weakness this season defensively has been not being able to stop mobile quarterbacks. And I think that, with Sam Howell there, Sam Howell has shown a little bit of mobility. They got weapons there with Terry McLaurin. And every time the Commanders play the Eagles, they play them close and they play them tough. And I think this is going to be the same. I think it's going to be a close battle. It's going to be a very, very close battle. And it's going to come down to the wire. And give me the Commanders. I think the Commanders shock the world and take down the Eagles in this game. Both Jalen Hurts and Sam Howell, they have both looked pretty good this season. But, it's going to come down to the end. And give me the Commanders, Laurel, on a last-second game-winning field goal.
Next up, we are going to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals visiting the Tennessee Titans. I said on a show that I think that Ryan Tannehill is going to get benched for Will Levis, and I thought it was the Charger game, but I really think this will be finally the game where I think Ryan Tannehill is going to get benched, and I think that the Will Levis era is going to start. I think Cincinnati's defense is going to get at Derrick Henry. I think the Bengals are going to blow out the Tennessee Titans. It's going to be an ugly game.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the uglier games in this afternoon slate. Give me the Bengals and the Bengals to win big. I don't believe in Ryan Tannehill. They should have made the move to Will Levis soon, or made it right now, actually. The defense has not been that great this season. Ryan Tannehill struggled all season long. The teams are just stacking the box, making Ryan Tannehill beat them because they're going to just stop Derrick Henry. They know that Ryan Tannehill cannot beat them, and Ryan Tannehill is not beating the opposing teams, and he's turning the football over. So give me the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think the Bengals defense gets a couple of turnovers. And Ryan Tannehill, you're right, Loro. He will be benched for Will Levis this week.
100%. Next up, we are going to talk about the Raiders and Chargers game. I mean, the Raiders are not as bad as what people think, but Jimmy Garoppolo is probably not going to be playing in this game. I'm going to go with the Chargers in a blowout if Garoppolo doesn't play, because I think that Josh McDaniels might be the first head coach to get fired. I don't know when, but I think he will get fired if the Raiders don't keep this up.
If Garoppolo doesn't play, give me the Raiders. But if Garoppolo plays, give me the Chargers. If Garoppolo does play, I'm gonna go with the Raiders. But it's gonna be a very close shootout. But it all depends on Jimmy Garoppolo's health. I don't trust Brian Hoyer, sadly. Brian Hoyer looked really bad when he was with the 49ers. And then Aiden O'Connell, he's a rookie. He would be making his first ever NFL start. That's really a big, big game for a rookie to step in. So I think with Justin Herbert, with that offense, Mike Williams out for the season, that's a massive blow right there. But they still got Keenan Allen. They still got Austin Eckler. The defense led by Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. If Garoppolo plays, I think this will be a good game. But if he doesn't, then, you might as well not even watch it because it's going to honestly be a really bad game.
I think if the Raiders, say if they finish the season 6-11, does Josh McDaniels get fired?
Yes, because remember, Loro, when McDaniels took over, the Raiders were coming off a playoff spot. They made the playoffs. They lost to the Bengals in a thrilling game. And he's taken over the team, and they have just taken steps backwards. They won only 6 games last season. They won 6 games a year before. They don't have a franchise quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think he's the answer. He's always getting hurt. And then Derek Carr, they ran him out of town. Josh Jacobs, he's on the franchise tag right now. Yeah, I think that he will be fired. And look for Mark Davis, Loro. This might be a crazy take, but look for Mark Davis to take a swing at Jim Harbaugh. He did that before he hired Josh McDaniels, and then he did it before he hired John Gruden and Jack Del Rio. So I would not be shocked if Michigan has a really good season. I would not be shocked if Mark Davis calls Jim Harbaugh to have Jim Harbaugh take over for Josh McDaniels.
To answer your question, I don't really think Jim Harbaugh is going to go back to the NFL, to be honest with you. I really think he's comfortable in Michigan, and I like him over at Michigan than in the pros.
I agree. I like Jim Harbaugh more in Michigan. It's his alma mater. I hope he wins a national title there because it would be such a great story. But Mark Davis likes that home run. He likes the shiny toys, and I would not be shocked if he goes after a big name to try to replace what's his name? Oh, Josh McDaniels. Watch out for, this also might be a crazy one. Remember a couple of years back when Mark Davis was looking for a new coach to replace John Gruden. He hosted Dabo Swinney, and Dabo Swinney has struggled at Clemson. Maybe Dabo Swinney ultimately makes a move to the pros. Who knows? But look for Mark Davis if he does fire Josh McDaniels to try to go get a big name.
Mark Davis, just like
Loro, I think you're muted.
We're going to talk about the New England Patriots taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Let me tell you, the Dallas Cowboys, they lost to a team that they shouldn't have had, and Stephen A. Smith loved it. So I feel like Dallas is going to go 2-2 here. I'm going to go New England in this game so that Stephen A. Smith can continue to say the gift keeps on giving.
I wouldn't be surprised if New England won, because New England, they have a really good defense. It's all about their offense. Can their offense keep up with the Dallas offense? I don't know if they can. Give me the Dallas Cowboys. It's in Dallas. Dallas is coming off a very embarrassing loss to the Arizona Cardinals, for goodness sakes. I still can't believe they lost to the Cardinals. I think Dak Prescott bounces back, but I think this is going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Ezekiel Elliott is going back to Dallas. I expect him to have a touchdown running in this game. Give me Dallas, but it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people are expecting.
First time for your San Francisco 49ers taking on the Jonathan Gannon-led Arizona Cardinals. I mean, he got his first win last week. Arizona's defense looks a lot better with him. But I really think when they get Kyler Murray back, I really think the Cardinals are gonna take off when they get him back. So I'm going to go with San Fran in a blowout. Josh Dobbs is still the starter because I think that the 49ers are going to be all over the Cardinals' offense and all that.
Give me the Niners. It's at Levi Stadium. Niners defense are out for revenge after Jonathan Gannon's words that he uttered before the NFC Championship game against the 49ers when he was the Eagles defensive coordinator. Josh Dobbs is the quarterback of the Cardinals, like you mentioned. Arizona, credit to them. They're gritty. They're very gritty. They're a very pesky team. They fight to the last minute. Give me San Francisco though. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think that the Niners defense suffocates Arizona, suffocates the running game, forces Josh Dobbs to have to beat him with his arm. And I just think that Josh Dobbs, he's going to turn the football over a couple of times. And Brock Purdy against that defense, against Jonathan Gannon's defense, who wasn't that great in the second half, honestly. I think McCaffrey has a really good day. I think Purdy manages the game very well, and he throws a couple of touchdown passes, doesn't make any mistakes. Give me San Francisco to win this game by at least 20 points.
And then to Sunday Night Football. I mean, I would have wanted to see Patrick Mahomes go up against Aaron Rodgers, but that is not going to happen. I'm going to go with the Chiefs, but it's going to be ugly. I'm like, there's going to be people like, why are they putting this game on Sunday Night Football for Zach Wilson to get embarrassed?
Laurel, they should honestly flex this game out of Sunday Night Football because it's going to be Patrick Mahomes versus Zach Wilson, man. Like, that's going to be a really ugly game. I do think it's going to be a lot closer because I think the Chiefs defense, they do tend to give up a lot of explosive plays, a lot of big yards. So I do think that the Chiefs defense could struggle a little bit in this game, but give me the Chiefs. The Jets defense is going to be tired. Patrick Mahomes is going to, he's going to struggle a little bit at first going up against the Jets defense, but I don't think the Jets will be able to move the football early, and that's going to tire out the defense. Give me the Chiefs to win this game. I will go, if I have to give a score, I'm probably going to go like 38-24.
I think it'll be higher than that. So, anyways, now with that being said, now we talk about the Giants and the Cowboy and the Seahawks. I mean, I'm actually going to go with the New York Giants. I mean, I really think that after that loss to San Fran, I think that this team will get back to 500 here at home.
Give me the Giants. I don't believe in the Seahawks. I think that this is going to be a good game. I can't wait to watch this game. both the Seahawks and the Giants have offenses that match each other. Their defenses aren't that great. So give me the Giants. I think Daniel Jones is going to finally have his breakout game of 2023. And he's going to show improvement. He's gone against some really tough teams to start the season, like the Cowboys and the Niners. Now you play a soft Seattle defense. I don't really believe in them. They just gave up 27 points to Andy Dalton. I'm going to go with the Giants, but I think it's going to be close.
We got to talk about our final thoughts and announcements here. I mean, some announcements to talk about, Isaiah. I mean, you wanted to do an MLB-related show here, and we also want to do a Sports Weekly show at some point because there's been a headline about Damian Lillard going to Milwaukee, and boy, Milwaukee, I think, is going to find a way to win a championship now with that duo, I think.
Yeah, I mean, what a great show tonight, man. A lot of great football talk. Thanks to Edward for tuning in. But in terms of like final thoughts and announcements, man, we're gonna aim to try to do a MLB preview show early next week. So make sure you guys tune in for that. It's gonna happen around, I would say, like 7 p.m. Pacific time or something like that. It's gonna be a lot earlier because I do have to work early next week. But make sure you guys tune in for that. Loro and I and Ben and others on our network are huge baseball fans. So we're going to have that MLB baseball preview, playoff preview show where we're going to predict every matchup. We're going to go through the bracket and we're going to give our World Series picks and MVP and all that stuff. So tune in for that. We're also probably going to get into some managers that are probably going to get let go this off season. So make sure you guys tune in for that. It's going to happen early next week. And then Sports Weekly, we're going to try to have one either early, sometime this week or next week as well, because we got to talk about that Damian Lillard trade. I mean, my goodness. Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo on the same team now. The Miami Heat strike out on another superstar, Loro. I mean, the Miami Heat, they've struck out so much. They've tried to get a lot of superstars, and they've just came up empty-handed all the time now. It's just really sad to see. And the Boston Celtics might have seen their window slam shut because of what the Milwaukee Bucks got. But my God, man, Giannis and the Bucks getting Damian Lillard with Chris Middleton there as well. That big three is going to be lethal. I think you're going to see a Lakers-Bucks finals this year, Loro.
Versus Adrian Griffin. That might be fun.
Third and 29. Jones steps up, tries to avoid it, buys some time. Jones uncorks, deep ball, touchdown on the ricochet. Purdy back to throw, pressure coming, steps away, looking to run, and he walks it in for the touchdown. Throw on 4th and 18. He's given time. He wants Jefferson. Jacobs with running room right up the middle. Jacobs is on his way. The Raiders are going to win this game. Herbert lays it up. Intercepted Trayvon Diggs. Guess who? It to McCaffrey right up the middle, and a stiff arm. McCaffrey for 6.